the GOP establishment, they're gritting their teeth. We're so happy. And many say they are prepared to support Trump if he gets the nomination. But should they? And will they? Comedian Ben Kissel, he's here. He's host of the Ben Kissel Show. Give him a kiss. Come on, people, and save one for Michael Malice, author of Dear Reader, our resident North Korea pop culture expert. And, of course, Matt Welch is here, editor-in-chief of Reason Magazine, the finest magazine on the planet. Subscribe now, won't you? Gentlemen, welcome to you all.
Thanks for having us.
It's Man Day, not Monday. Here we go.
Hey, all right.
All right, so Ben, let's talk about Donald Trump a little bit, because you say, and I think this is a very appropriate description of him, that he somehow reflects hip-hop analogy. Please explain that for me.
He does indeed. Okay, so you have the GOP. They're living in an REO Speedwagon time, but it's a Kendrick Lamar world, okay? Donald Trump is the hip-hop presidential candidate. He flaunts his wealth. He has feuds and beefs all over town. He refuses to acknowledge that he is not the best at everything, and he's a little bit misogynistic. He is the hip-hop candidate. And it resonates. I tell you, he's going to get some major inroads with the youth vote because of it, and I think he's actually going to do fairly well with the black vote as well. Mark my words, Ben Kissel, I promise.
No, I think that you're the first person that I've heard explain it in those terms, but when you say it like that, it makes a lot more sense, and I think for some people watching who haven't quite made sense of his candidacy, it's somewhat palatable.
Yeah.
Will Republicans bolt if Trump's the nominee?
Yes.
Matt Welch.
There will be Republicans for Hillary, for sure, if Donald Trump gets this nomination.
Will John McCain be one of them?
Yes, I think he will.
Because he's already said, and you remember, you might have been the first to document this, that if Rand Paul got the nomination, McCain said that he's pretty much voting for Hillary.
Yeah, well, what happens is that the Republican Party said to Donald Trump, you have to sign this stupid pledge to say that you'll support the Republican nominee, because they're terrified that he might bolt and become a third-party person. His deadline to make that decision, even though he signed the pledge, is the end of this month.
Yeah.
So all these Republican graybeards, they're like in a hostage video right now saying, yes, I will support the GOP nominee if it's Donald Trump. But actually, when it comes down to it, I think a large part of them won't, not just because he's a boorish, awful outsider who changes his mind about everything, but also because of foreign policy. He's less interventionist than a lot of the old hawks like John McCain.
Interesting.
But I think that's what, again, that's what attracts the youth vote to him. He was against the Iraq war, but he was also against pulling out of the Iraq war, which are both completely rational and completely right decisions.
And they seem to be in opposition of one another. How odd. Michael Malice.
Kennedy.
With those dreamy azure eyes. Let's talk a little bit about the establishment. GOP.
Get lost in them.
I do. I have, and I will.
Talking to Matt.
Okay.
Again.
Yeah, no, he's got blue eye envy because he also has brown eyes.
Lots of other envy, too.
All right. So, Michael Malice, do you love watching the establishment squirm?
Yes, because there's no greater villain in politics than a moderate Republican. I go back to 1964 when Nelson Rockefeller went on stage in California and basically gave Barry Goldwater and all his supporters the finger. They expect conservatives to kowtow to them, but they will never return the favor because these people have no principles other than seeking power. And I agree with Ben that Donald Trump is an NWA, and I think the reason he's getting a lot of support is because he's not playing on the progressives' turf. He's not treating them with respect and kindness. He's saying these people and their worldview is illegitimate, and I'm going to go there and burn their house down. And people are saying, finally, someone who thinks like us.
Yeah, people are giving him Molotov cocktails and a match. All right, well, there is trouble in Hillary land. Hold on to your hard hats. According to a CBS YouGov survey, Bernie Sanders 10 points ahead of Hillary in Iowa, and 22, that's not a typo, 22 points in New Hampshire. Oh, my sweet, sweet garden, look at that. There is Bernie just smiling as smiley can be. So talk about having it both ways. Hillary is going for what you have dubbed socialism light, but can she make that work for her?
No, the reason I support Hillary very much for the presidency is she brought us a balanced budget. She brought us the first Republican Congress in 40 years in 1994 because she's singularly incompetent, unlikable. The only time her approval ratings went up in the last 10 years is when she was exiled from America and no one could see her in the whole country. So
this is actually
when
true.
She didn't get to say anything. That's
right,
a really good point.
And anytime she's on TV, she turns off people because she's so reprehensible and unfunny and off-putting and arrogant. And I know from arrogant, and she doesn't do it right.
She does not have swag. She really doesn't.
She's not NWA.
And I'm wondering, you said that it's a healthy rejection of political coronations. Are Bernie Sanders and Donald Trump's successful campaigns a direct reaction to the thought of either a Bush or Clinton presidency?
I think so, yeah. They're a little bit different just because Sanders has been inside the system as an outsider or something like that, and Trump has been totally off. But Sanders belongs to a kind of exiled wing of the Democratic Party. If there was a Tea Party within the Democratic Party, it would be the $15 minimum wage, socialistic economy type of people. So Sanders embodies that. He gets both the kind of anti-Hillary, don't tell us that we have to vote for her just because she wiped out the competition ahead of time. But they also get the sort of Elizabeth Warren, Bill de Blasio, dead-ender left on Democrats vote out there, which is the most passionate, sadly for me, the most passionate kind of area for Democrats right now, as opposed to war or criminal justice reform.
Yeah, instead of limited government, they're sort of maximum government progressives, which is certainly scary.
Right.
But you say that Bernie Sanders isn't even an outsider.
Well, obviously he's an insider, and that's how bad the Clinton campaign is. People are just forcing themselves to be delusional enough to the idea that he hasn't been the longest sitting independent person in Congress in the U.S. history.
Yeah.
But the reason that Hillary loses, and the reason she's never going to win the Democratic nomination, in the 90s, they almost doubled the prison population. She voted for the Iraq War, and she has treated women worse than Joe Francis from Girls Gone Wild could ever imagine treating women throughout her entire political career.
Right?
What's that?
He signed the checks, right?
At least he paid them. Yeah, he didn't actually ruin careers. He attempted to launch some, I suppose. So that really resonates with a lot of the people on the left, and that's why she loses her female card.
Because
of what she's done.
But the Girls Gone Wild franchise was very successful, so by your logic, she's going to win the White House handily.
All right, well, there you go. At least he's rational. Coming up, my panel returns to talk about today's earthquake of news. Arnold Schwarzenegger taking Donald Trump's place on The Apprentice. What? More on that in a few minutes, but first I asked the people who the Democrats should draft if Hillary bottoms out. Do you love Hillary Clinton? She's okay. If her candidacy falls apart, who should replace her?
Can I kick it? Yes, you can. Can I kick it? Yes, you can. Can I kick it? Yes, you can. Can I kick it?
Joe Biden, welcome back, by the way. Joe Biden mulling over a White House bid and reportedly met with a top bundler, I don't even know her, from President Obama's campaign when he swung through New York City last week. Democrats are looking at him as well as Al Gore, John Kerry, as possible white knights to swoop in if Hillary's popularity continues to slump. So I hit the streets to ask people, who should the Democrats draft if Hillary's campaign doesn't work out? If Hillary's candidacy falls apart, who should step in? Al Gore? Joe Biden? Elizabeth Warren? Elizabeth Warren?
I'm thinking of a really nice older Jewish guy.
Oh, you feel the burn, don't you?
I'm feeling it a little bit.
Hillary Clinton's candidacy is falling apart. Who should step in and save the Democratic Party? John Kerry?
No.
Al Gore?
No.
Elizabeth Warren?
No.
Joe Biden? Your mom? Hey! Your shirt says get it together.
Yes.
Hillary Clinton has to get it together or she's going to lose. If someone is going to replace her, who should it be?
Well, it shouldn't be nobody else. I like
Just
her.
her? You like her?
Yeah, just like her.
Stay there. Fight it out, you're saying.
Yeah, fight it out.
You like Hillary Clinton?
Absolutely not.
What if she drops out? Who will take her place?
If Donkey Kong took her place over Hillary Clinton after the Benghazi incident,
What difference at this point does it make?
You like Hillary Clinton?
Yes.
You think that she'll keep running even though she's in trouble?
Yes.
Do you love Hillary Clinton?
I'm English, I'm not.
What about British politics? Do you want Hillary Clinton to be your prime minister or your queen?
No.
You can have her.
What? No.
I don't mind. Pick her. Do people like Hillary Clinton?
Not anymore. Trump is saying what everybody's feeling.
If Hillary drops out, who do you think will take her place?
I'm not sure.
Elizabeth Warren?
No.
Joe Biden?
Maybe.
Maybe. Strong maybe though, right?
Maybe.
John Kerry do anything for you?
No.
I think he looks like a slipper.
Does he the one that looks like Herman Munster?
If Hillary's president candidacy falls apart, who should replace Hillary Clinton?
You.
Well, there you go. Kennedy 2016, according to the redshirt freshman. My panel is back to discuss Ben Kissel, Michael Malice, and Matt Welch. Matt Welch, I'll start with you. Bernie Sanders, is he the real plan B? Or are people just wasting their time with this list of retread has-beens?
He is the only plan B. As usual, your man on the street proved that there is no actual Democratic fire for any other.
No.
I mean, Joe Biden, come on. I mean, actually, right now is the first time that Joe Biden's been above 1% in any poll in his life, presidential poll in his life. So at least he's got that going for him. But no one's going to get excited about Al Gore. No one's going to get excited about John Kerry. Elizabeth Warren, what's she going to do? We already have Elizabeth Warren running.
Yeah, her name's Bernie Sanders.
Yeah, so it's Bernie. He's plan B.
Could be Bernie Sanders. But you say Joe Biden saves the voters' money. How does that work, Ben Kissel?
I have no idea how that works, Kennedy. I don't know if I've ever said that. But I would say this. The fact that they call Bernie Sanders Plan B is accurate because you never take that when things are going well. It's always in a disastrous situation when you're forced to go to Plan B.
Yeah.
Joe Biden right now is like a lifeguard, and he's sitting there on the beach. He's got his little sun-tanning lotion on his nose, and he's watching Hillary drown. It's the last day of summer. He doesn't want to get wet, but inevitably he knows he's going to have to pick up his little flotation device and go and save.
He's going to have to Baywatch. He's going to have to put on his Pamela Anderson singlet.
We're going to see him bouncing down the beach.
There's a lot of mental images there that I could have done without.
Yeah, you don't see
He's an artist.
The hair plugs in the wind floating away.
I actually would like to. You say the White House is trolling Hillary.
Yeah, I think
is it working?
I think it's working very, very well. You know perfectly well that the Hillary campaign is calling the Obama White House, trying to get the FBI off her server, and they're not taking her call, and she's freaking out because it's out of her control. She's a control freak. That's the whole reason. The whole strategy behind her campaign is, I'm going to smother all opposition, and I'm just going to roll my way into the White House, and all this campaigning is a formality. I'm going to measure the drapes, starting in April of 2010.
Oh, yeah.
So there is no plan B. Matt's absolutely right because she's scared everyone off, and this was just like 64. She was a Goldwater girl, and they tried to stop Goldwater, and people were like, I'm
You're
in, but
still mad about that, aren't you?
aren't you?
That's twice in the one show.
I know, but that was the last time she was a libertarian. Isn't that sad?
Yes.
1964.
Right.
That was the last time Hillary Clinton had any inkling
Well,
of
she's going to be a libertarian, but she's going to be indicted. Then she's going to be like, oh, no, that's legal. Everything should be legal.
There's a lot of people who came out as Goldwaterites once he was safely dead and once George W. Bush was
Well, we
in the
have
White House.
photos of her with him. She met him, yeah.
She met him and they fell in love, and she was his teenage mistress. And that's another story for another panel. We've got more with this panel later, though, luckily, including the curious case of Arnold Schwarzenegger and Donald Trump. Just when the news couldn't get any stranger, who's next? Jesse Ventura hosting The Voice. Don't enjoy the silence for too long because we are back, and welcome to you. Donald Trump cut ties with NBC's Apprentice after deciding to run for president, but the popular show has found a new host. Arnold Schwarzenegger not only is the former governor of California a movie star, he's ineligible to run for president himself. My panel is back to discuss. It's Ben Kissel, Michael Malice, and Matt Welch. So this is so funny to me because I think NBC is literally thumbing their nose at Trump by saying, we're going to associate the show with another celebrity who became a political failure.
Yeah, and you can imagine already in your mind that you're fired. Like he can deliver that line better than almost anybody else. Obviously, can't deliver it as well as he could. The shame of this all is that Schwarzenegger is actually a really, really smart dude. He wasn't a particularly good governor of California. Sadly, he failed on the promises that he came up with.
He didn't make good on any of those promises.
He didn't make good.
The electorate abandoned him completely. He was awful.
And then he, for the first time in his life, faced unpopularity, so he just completely switched all of his policies, and it was terrible. But I think if anything, they switched positions. I think Arnold Schwarzenegger, as bad as he was as governor, is not going to be nearly as bad as Trump would be as president. And I don't think that Arnold could be as good as Trump is at Celebrity Apprentice.
I don't know. He screwed California pretty royally, and I think if he had a bigger canvas, he could do some pretty harsh
For sure,
damage.
but I'm not sure even worse than Donald Trump.
I've got a pretty good imagination. I have to say, I really dislike Arnold Schwarzenegger as a politician. However, As a host of a reality show, he might have a great tagline.
I think he's exactly where he belongs. The host of a reality television show. Of course, You're Fired will become You're Terminated. I'm going to kill myself. I'm going to go kill myself now in the back, if I may. Thank you so much. But it's very interesting. Bodybuilder to actor to governor, now reality TV star. I'm fairly certain he's going to be the spokesperson for Cash for Gold coming up in about 5 years. That seems to be the trajectory of his career.
Oh.
Good for him.
Well, no, he went back to being a movie star. He doesn't do horribly at that.
Untouchables 3? Unwatchable.
I don't know. I did. The first two are just so pristine. It was hard for me to watch the third one.
How are you guys sitting
Shaking
here
your head.
mocking Schwarzenegger when he bagged the Kennedy, which is more than any of us can say, despite having an accent that sounds like he has a speech impediment? Hold on, I'm on a rant. And we already tried this with The Apprentice. We remember Martha Stewart was going to replace Donald Trump.
She had her own apprentice.
It had one season, and Donald Trump, who's never a misogynist, when her show was canceled, went after her in the press really hard that she's a loser and a failure, and she's such a wasp that when she retaliated, she goes, I can't believe my very good friend Donald Trump is saying these horrible things about me. So he owned her, and this is just like how he's owning all these cowardly Republicans now in the field.
He may be owning them right now, but I still think policy-wise, I agree with Matt that there could be some great failures that lie ahead because he's not a politically pragmatic person. He also doesn't.
You don't think deporting 11 million people, including an extra 4 million American citizens, is doable?
Wait, so you're saying?
No, I think that's.
So you agree that Trump won't break his promises? He's going to be the first politician to stick to his word?
Yeah.
Okay, that's amazing.
I've heard of it. Like, he gets things done.
Yeah. I build walls every day.
You know what the crazy thing is? He's going to deport all of them to Gitmo.
Oh,
it's kind of exciting.
Too soon.
Going to reopen.
All right, before the break, I asked which of the following is not a sexual orientation option at the State University of New York, also known as SUNY. Is it A, straight, B, pansexual, C, quantum sexual, or D, questioning? The answer, of course, is C, quantum sexual. That's not a gender preference yet. Meanwhile, your gender choices at SUNY now include man, woman, trans woman, genderqueer/gender fluid, questioning, and unsure, combined with sexual orientation and write-in options. There are 72 different combinations of sexual identity now available, which is fantastic. I certainly love choices. But Michael, I don't understand what's the difference between questioning and unsure.
Questioning is someone who's questioning their sexuality. When someone's unsure, they might be unsure of where they identify as a gender. So it could be, am I a male lesbian or something like that. It's rooted in what you are as a gender. So questioning means I might be bi, I might be straight, I might be gay, whereas unsure is I might be a male who is bi or I might be a female who is bi. So there is a root in there. These things overlap. That's why they have it LGBTQI now.
Oh, wow. That's so many. It's very hard to remember. Now, you love multiple choice, right?
I do. I'm totally lost with this entire conversation at some point, as I am. And that's all to the good. I just don't understand how come there isn't the none of your freaking business option. Seriously,
there absolutely should be. I mean, that's my question for you, Ben. Why is this necessary on any sort of college questionnaire?
It's not. It's really sad. Both of my older brothers are gay, and they're very diverse in political opinions and things like that. The problem I have with all of these things, there's a whole generation that lives in a box, right? Yeah. And then people expect them to have the political affiliations of the people that are in that box. And when they break that, people are very upset. Look what happened with Caitlyn Jenner. Everybody knew Caitlyn was a Republican. She came out against gay marriage, and now they're throwing her under the bus. They create the monster. They project their ideals onto these human beings who have full 360-degree personalities, and as soon as they break the liberal narrative, they attack them.
No, this
is actually an important position because we want all this. We want 72 different identities on Facebook, but not on politics.
Right.
You can only have one. It's very strange to me. I don't understand why people.
This is all the fault of the conservatives. By making people who are a little bit different uncomfortable in the conservative movement, they have no choice but to identify as progressive. It's a cultural thing.
But they're not different. That's what I'm saying. The liberals are actually. I live in Williamsburg, Brooklyn. Every single hipster dresses the exact same.
Everyone knows what Williamsburg is.
Well, there's Virginia.
That's fair. But the point is, Caitlyn Jenner would be a natural Republican to speak at the convention, and they will refuse to embrace her because people are drawn to conservatism because they're psychologically conservative, not necessarily because they're politically conservative.
I don't like that expression at all.
Which one?
No, I don't like that you are expected to express yourself in one stream as a conservative. I think that the expression should be interesting and varied.
No one should be a conservative. It's not a coherent philosophy.
Donald Trump would have Caitlyn Jenner at his inauguration.
That's probably true.
That is true.
So do you think conservatism is biological?
I think conservatism is psychological, and
Okay.
people are conservative because they're uncomfortable with outgroups and they're uncomfortable with things being weird, and it highly correlates with people who don't have passports, and that's not a coincidence.
I'm a libertarian.
I'm an anarchist.
I'm a Virgo. All right. Thank you, gentlemen, so much. What a conversation. I'm as confused as I am clad in black. Very good. So Michael, Ben, and Matt, return gently.